everybody, it's Connie. It's 2 o'clock and I am live. I'm just gonna wait a minute to see if anybody pops on here so I don't feel like I'm talking to myself, period. I am gonna hold off on showing you the new catalog until next month or next week because I have some other things I want to show you today. I'm kind of excited about. So I'm just pulling a few things out, getting ready. Okay, let's get started. So the November-December catalog starts November 1st. What will happen is a lot of the items from the current catalog will stay active on the website while supplies last. They've already sold out of a couple of things. I want to go through this catalog with you, and many of you will be getting it in your mailbox soon, I hope. But I really want to talk about the November stamp of the month. So under the new VIP customer program, if you spend $50 in a single order, you will get the stamp of the month set completely free. It'll pop up on your shopping cart as an option to add it. So make sure that if you're not seeing that, you don't place your order without messaging me or something first, just in case there's some glitch. This particular stamp of the month is great, and it just happens to fall during our club month. So for those of you who want to get it free, if you've signed up as a VIP, if you spend $50, you'll get this completely free. You can still buy it full price, $18.95. I can no longer purchase a whole bunch of them easily, or I haven't figured out how to do it yet. If I do, I'll let you know, where you don't have to spend so much to get it. But it's really cool, and I've had a lot of fun with it, and I want to show you some artwork with it. But first, look at this artwork on the Close to My Heart page of the catalog. This is a 12 by 12 layout, and it used Cricut cuts and the stamp images cut out. I am loving that, and on the wood background and in a black frame. Cool. The whole thing looks amazing. I think I'm gonna try to duplicate that layout. I don't do that very often. I usually try to do my own thing. The other thing that I think is interesting in the artwork is the pocket page that goes next to it, and how they've made a couple of them look almost like a card front, and I think that's really cool. So that's something to think about too, another way to use it. So let me show you. I'm going to set this aside. I have, this is the stamp set itself, and it comes with little marshmallows and whipped cream and a couple of different cups. It comes with a shadow like that fits inside the cup, and I'll show you in my samples, I stamped it at the top of this taller cup, and just when I cut it out, I just trimmed it off. It has several messages, Sweetie Pie and Cutie Pie. My daughter was laughing at those. She's like, who would do that? But I do want to show you some artwork that I did using the pie, because that was the one that I was like, well, I don't know what to do with that. So this one I totally cut. I just stamped it in black ink onto Sundance cardstock. That looked to me the closest to pumpkin pie. If you had like the old Gold Rush or something like that, you can make that work. Then I used the markers, the tri-blend markers, in like just one of the gold browns to kind of shade it. And I really do think that looks like pumpkin pie. These were stamped in white, and then I colored them orange, which was bold, and then I went over it again with the golden brown, and you can see that looks like pumpkin pie too. So actually those turned out pretty good. This one was just in a different color of brown. The other option is to just, if you have an ink pad and, you know, a sponge, a makeup sponge or a dauber or whatever, you know, you can ink up your dauber and you can shade it using the ink from the stamp pad, and that will make it look dimensional also. And I think that looks pretty good. So I just want to show you that. All right, let me show you that up close. So you can see, you can use the ink as kind of like to help blend that on there. And I'd probably still work that around just a little bit. But that's another way to shade it, like tone on tone. If you are somebody who's collecting inks, you'll probably have that color. So what I did was I was messing around with this stamp set, and you can see that there's this little image that matches the one on the cup. And I thought maybe I could take that and stamp it directly onto there and line it up. But it doesn't line up great, and you can see how difficult that would be. I was like, no. And same way with this little center and that kind of thing. Now this one lines up perfectly with that. It is that. So I can show you some artwork that I used with that. This little border right here, it's like super flexible. I love this border, and on the samples that I show you, you will see that I used it a lot. But it's definitely, you can see that it's flexible, and so you could shape it however you wanted to. So that's an idea too. When I line things up on my block, let's just pretend this block is big enough, I use like a grid or something under it, and I just line it up onto the grid so that I know that it's straight. Because you can hold it over something that's straight and then put it on there straight. A lot of stamps, if you put them onto your surface upside down, they just, like this one can get, you could tell, you could get it out of wonky, it could get like a wonky line or something, but I just flop it over. It has a natural way it wants to land, and then you put your block on it to pick it up, and then you have the shape without the wonky lines. So that's just a tip for using those lined shapes. So the other thing you'll see in almost every sample that I use today is these brackets, thin cuts. I don't know where that came from, sorry. These brackets I've been using them like crazy, but this larger one fits these messages pretty well. And so you can see why I used those the way I did. So I'll show you that. And it's a nice way to have a design element that I didn't have to cut by hand. That's great. And so that's how I made this one. And I just glued it on, you know, part way and then turned it over and trimmed it off even. And yeah, this is the one my daughter was making fun of that said cutie pie. Oh, you warm my heart, cutie pie. I just thought that'd be cute. And if you look really close, I don't know if you can see that with my little light the way it is. You know, I used the tone on tone stamping just to add something to the background. I think it really does help. I don't know how well you can see it on camera, but you can sure see it in real life. Okay, enough with the pumpkin pie. Let me show you the other ones. This is one of my favorite cards. I just made this one into a card front because I will just adhere this to the front of a card. I'll probably put it on a red base, but just because I just think it's so cool looking, you know, with the pop of red. But basically what I did was I just stamped and cut out tons of images. You can see I have a baggie here of all these different cutouts and cut aparts. I colored some of the lids gray and some of them blue, and you know, to color the lid to give it some shade, like this one is the ice gray blend, and I just used the light color open. And you know, the darkest part is going to be on the side, right? Because that's where the shadow is, and in here. And then I just sort of did this. And I think it looked pretty good. That's how I did them. And then you can always go in, even with your darker color, and add even more shading if you want to. I could fiddle with that all day because I love these markers, as you know. The Hostess Club group, there's a bundle, there's 2 bundles of markers, and each one is like $189. And when it's your turn to be sort of the hostess or whatever of the group, then you can get these half off if you want to get the whole bundle of markers. I think they're great. I use them for everything. I own every marker ever made, I think, and these are my favorites. Anyway, so what I did was I just cut out a piece of Lagoon paper, and I just layered the pieces on. I made a fun border, and you might notice I have some like little red gems on there. And this is that white pen. Remember last time I showed you my cool Uniball Signo pen. This is not sold by Close to My Heart. Boy, I wish it was. I keep my antenna topper on there. But this thing writes white. It writes white, and it writes smooth, and it writes on dark, and God, love it. Anyway, okay, enough of that one. This is another one. This is kind of a similar thing. You know, it's the same cup. I am an idiot, but I sat there and cut out all those little marshmallows, and I think this is the only one that I actually put marshmallows on. I wasn't sure how I felt about them. They come as a little stamp of 3. And so I don't know how no matter what I did, I liked them individually stacked up. So to me, they kind of look a little more like sugar cubes. I'm not exactly sure how to make them look different. And then you'll notice that this right here is an exact replica. So I was able to cut that out and glue it on. I could have just colored it in, but I liked how that looked. And there are those little extra images on the Stamp of the Month sheet made into a border. This, I am shocked at how much impact that one right there has. I love it. I think I used it on almost every card because I loved how it looked. I almost gave it like a Scandinavian look or a sweater kind of design look. Anyway, I love that. I made that into a little banner. This one is just on mink cardstock. My most underrated color in the whole catalog is mink because it has a light side and a dark side, and I just thought it looked really neat with the darker brown. And then instead of putting the candy cane into the cup, I made it into a little handle, which I thought that looked pretty good. I liked it. The only other thing this one might need, I might cut out one of these images and put it right there in the center and pop it up. I think that would look really nice. Here's one that I did where I was playing around with all those little extra parts and pieces on the stamp set, and you can see I made a little dot border, the little crosses in gray. I did the little flower kind of thing in red, and there's that one sweater pattern again. Anyway, that was fun. To put the candy cane into the cup lid, I used a little X-Acto knife to make just a little tiny cut in there so that I could slide my candy cane into the cup, because you don't want it just behind it, because then it doesn't look like it's in the cup. So I made like a slit and then slid it in. So that's how I did that right there. That's every candy cane that's in a cup. That's how I did it. That's not a bad idea, Noelle. I need to mess around with the marshmallows more, honestly. I need to play with those just a little bit more. I could, you know what they probably need is a mask. I need to stamp them on a Post-it note so that when you stamp the front image and then cover it up and then do some behind it kind of thing. I just need to play with it a little more. And I probably will, because these are some of my this stamp set, I like it almost as well as any other Christmas stamp set in any of the catalogs so far. So this one I just think is really fun. And this one I did on an actual card base, and I did that little flower as all the way around the border, and then I just put this center on. So you may notice that a lot of my cards that I'm getting ready to show you have a frame on them. This is the stitched rectangle frame, and when you run it through your die cutting machine, you get the frame that looks like this, but you also get this little inset that is stitched, which makes a nice photo mat. But also, like here, I did it in green, and see it's like stitched on the edge. And I thought that was fun. Okay, this one. So one of the things that I have been playing around with a lot is shaker cards, and that's what I'm going to show you today. But I have to admit, the little shaker stuff that people are selling now, the little shapes and things, I am so addicted. I have started buying all these crazy shaker shapes. I don't even make that many shaker cards, but these little shapes are so cute. And so I had to have these little snowflakes. So that's where those came from. They are not close to my heart, shh. But there again, there's a handle. This one I got fancy, and I made a pull-up card where it pulls up and it says wishing you a cozy holiday on the inside. It has a pull tab at the top. I think I've shown you how to make these before, but these are really fun Christmas cards because you can make anything pop up, and then see it's actually dimensional on the table. So, you know, when you set it down, I don't know how to show that, but you know, you can see the images upwards. And I just used 2 of the little cups and crisscrossed them onto my strip. And then this all goes flat for mailing, which is really nice. This would be really nice for, we have like there's like a really cool kind of woodland sort of scene. Hold on a minute, because I'm going to sneak peek you in the catalog here so you can see what I'm talking about. I feel like I'm talking about something you haven't seen yet. All right, so like this stamp set right here where it has like a really cute little scene, and there's thin cut. You can buy them with or without the thin cuts, but you could have like the little Mr. and Mrs. Snowman, you know, that pops up on here, or, you know, the reindeer with the presents, or you could do a Santa face or a Santa body there. It'd be really cute. Okay. I know you're probably all dying to see what else is in there. Keep turning the pages, Connie. So this is what a shaker card looks like, and this is what I did. This is a basic shaker where, I'm going to move this out of the way a minute. Basically, I used a card base and made a sandwich. So you have like a card base, some foam tape that's in a frame shape, and then I cut a frame to put on the top to cover the foam tape. And it has a piece of acetate on it. And notice I put the fun shakers in. I have the peppermint and the little snowflakes and stuff inside of there. And on this one, I put the image inside the shaker. And that's sort of basic. And then this one here has a message on the outside. I think that turned out really cute. You could even put ribbons on it and stuff if you don't care about mail. You know, some of these mailing ones they're not very practical for mailing. This is the shaker I'm going to show you today, how to make it, and I have a special thing I want to show you about that one. Here's the same one as this, except I used a red shimmer pen to make like a stripe all the way around. And you'll notice my stripes are not perfect candy cane stripes. I just sort of winged it and put it on there, and I think it looked really cute. It turned out really nice as a little peppermint border. And I even took some of the cut up marshmallows and put in this one. Can you see them in there? I just thought it added something, I don't know. And then I have a couple of others that are the same way, but I only did the peppermint part way around, and I thought that looked pretty good. This one was starting to look a little patriotic, and I thought that was a little much, so I stopped. But these shakers are what I want to show you today because I think they're really fun. And you don't have to have, oh yeah, the shakers for the tree. Oh, you know, just imagine if you can take any shape. And I got to admit, you know, last year we did all those ornaments that were shakers and things. I think that the squares and rectangles and the hexagons that are out right now, I have those in my to-do list to show you guys because they're so awesome. But those are much easier to foam tape. You don't have to have, you know, you don't have to have special die cut foam tape for those. So I want to show you how to make this really quick. Let me move some of my pieces. So what I did was I made a card base, and this is a mink card base, okay? And I need one more thing. Sorry. I was gonna say, talk amongst yourselves. That's like my worst impression of the coffee talk lady. Okay, anyway, so you can do, what I like about this is that the light and the dark is a dramatic enough difference that you can pick what you want to be light or dark. So I'm going to put the light on the background. That way my shaker stuff will show up. And I ran out of my thicker foam tape from Close to My Heart. So I'm using this off-brand. It is not as good, but I have it in abundance. What I like about the Close to My Heart brand foam tape, even though it costs a little more, is that it peels off really easy. Now when you put foam tape on a shaker card, you want to make sure you don't have gaps where your stuff is going to be shaken out of it. So you really want all of your foam tape to make a kind of a sealed opening. Now, to make the larger shaker, this is basically what I did. I just made a big rectangle around the outside and done. There it is. Now I fill it with my shaker foam, put my acetate on the front. But the most expensive part of this whole ordeal is the acetate. I have used some really cheap, like, packaging from, you know, like when you buy a stamp set that's a different, like an off-brand, not close to my heart, that has like the acetate or the packaging of a sticker sheet. Those are so thin. It's a little hard. The acetate that's sold in the catalog is nice and thick, and it has this little tissue to help protect it. And but you can see it's like full of static, which is really annoying because the minute you put your shaker stuff in there, the shaker stuff wants to right onto this window. So I have my anti-static pad here, and I'll show you how I use that. Now, because the acetate is so expensive, I don't want to use a full sheet if I'm going to cover it up with an image. It just wastes all that acetate. So what I like to do is make a false, kind of make a false bottom. So I'm going to put this across here. And now I have, a space for my shaker material. I can cover it all up with my bottom and decorate. And my shaker, I won't have to use as much shaker stuff either because the window is actually a lot smaller. So I hope that makes sense. So I'm like hiding it. Now, before I take anything off, I want to make sure, you might have noticed on a couple of my shakers, the marshmallows were kind of like hung up on the adhesive on the side. So you don't really want your edges to be so sticky that they make all your shaker stuff stick to the edges. So you can use one of these powder tools, or you can use baby powder, or you can use cornstarch. Almost everybody has some kind of powder like that you can put in there. The other thing is you want to run it around your acrylic sheet too, because it will help get rid of that crazy static that's on it. And don't worry, you know, I know it shows, like you can see that I have all of this powder all over it and it looks crazy, but when it's on your window, it'll brush off, it'll go away. So I'm going to sprinkle. Now is the point. Actually, I think I'm going to go ahead and peel all my foam tape pieces off, so it exposes your adhesive like this. My cat is driving me crazy today. In the background, I can see her. She's had the zoomies this morning where she makes a mad dash through the house. And I'm like, where's she going? What's she doing? I can't stop looking. Okay, so I'm not going to put any shaker stuff in here. I'm just going to put some in here. And then I think I will go ahead and put a few of the little snowflakes in there. I could put a few marshmallows in if I wanted. I also have this like, this is like just general white. Now, the cool part about this close to my heart has shaker material that is amazing. So this blue or this red or this white would all look great. They're just little beads and you sprinkle them in and they don't stick like sequins and stuff to static. So this would look great, but I'm going to use this for my, I'm divvying this up as part of my kit for my perpetual calendar, so I don't want to use it up right now. All right, I think this looks pretty good. Now I'm just basically, I'm going to try to line up my acrylic there, push it down, and see how, basically I have a shaker. This is all exposed. I could have made my acrylic even a little smaller. And then I'm going to just put some glue across the top here because it'll be covering the bottom, but on top of that acrylic at the top. Okay, so there is my card base. And now I can decorate it however I want. And that is so cute. So I could just put a couple of these on like that. And then a message. Now, the reason you might notice I didn't cut the entire banner out because I was going to tuck it behind the cup like that. And the reason that I did that was just simply just because I was running out of paper when I was cutting those out. I didn't want to, I was too lazy to go get more. Okay, remember how I told you I used that shadow piece of the hot chocolate or coffee or mocha or whatever it is. It is too wide for the top of this cup. So I just stamped it, and then when I cut the cup out, I just made it rounded. And you can't tell that it doesn't belong there. I mean, I did that on a lot of different ones. You cannot tell that, you know, it's a kind of goofy looking if you really look at it close. But in real life, nobody looks at that. So now we have our message. We have our cup. So this one needs a lid since I didn't put the shadow or the little mocha on there. And then I would probably go ahead and cut a slit in there and put a candy cane in it, like this one. I just think they're so cute. Love. Now, right now you can see my foam tape. So that's where this comes in. That's really nice. It makes a perfect frame and it covers your foam tape and you just glue it on. You can make that any color. So I could cut one in red or green and just redo that and adhere everything down. I like that you can do anything you want when you have those die cuts. If you don't have the die cuts and you still want to do this, it's not that hard to use a craft knife and a ruler to cut, you know, or even your paper trimmer and cut a 1/4 inch square or rectangle out of the center. Okay, let's see. Do you guys have any questions or anything? This is one of my favorite stamp sets of the season, and I really do think that there's a lot of different things. I'd love to see what you guys make with it. If you'd like to know how to make these, I could be happy to show you if you haven't seen that before. I think those are fun. So this one, I made it totally flat so that when it would go through the mail without any issues. But in reality, most people put like foam tape on each side so that when this pulls up, there's a little bit of more of a channel. I don't think it's necessary. Okay, that is what I have today. And If you would like to see something specifically done with this, let me know. I'll probably play around a little bit with those marshmallows some more. I really like the lagoon with that. And I don't know what, I was struggling a little bit with what other colors I wanted to make my coffee cups. So I made them, the blue I love, but it does look patriotic. And I really love this light glacier, but my favorite is the red. Okay. Thanks everybody. Don't forget that I have put together 12 kits for the perpetual calendar. If you are going to make that perpetual calendar, I think there's already 5 or 6 kits accounted for. If you're going to make that, I'd love to send you a kit. So you have to get in. You're going to get like some wood pieces. You're going to get a wood sheet for the base. I have little baggies set up for each month with things cut out that you'll add to the party paper and sticker sheet. And so it'll be worth your while because the class is free. I mean, anybody can sit in on it, but the kit itself, I only have so many of, and it's a good value. So thank you so much. Have a good afternoon.